Coming to you direct from deep underneath your favorite Japanese wrestling arena, it's time for your high-speedy, strongly styled, fighting spirited, secret handshaking, wink wink nudge nudge, lethal dose of female professional wrestling, primarily in the land of shoguns and rising suns. It's time for you to remove your blindfold, accept a complimentary fruity drink that's totally not sus at all, and learn from our inside terminology, because you, our friends, have nearly willfully accepted the invite and have joined our Cult of Joshi. Now allow me to introduce you to your fighting spirited guides, Raja and John.
Hello and welcome back into the Cult of Joshi.
Hello.
I am your host, Raja. And I'm joined by my co-host, John, and we're here to talk about some Joshi goodness.
Goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious, indeed.
That's what we have this time. Just so much that we're trying to find a cranny to nook in.
Yeah.
Because it is so tight. It's just, well, I mean, we're hours away from a card right now.
Yes.
So we were like, what are we going to do? Because we got to do a review, but we got to get a preview.
We got some stuff to review and some stuff coming up. That's crazy.
So what we figured out is you just don't need to watch anything until you hear from us.
Right? You just need to wait until you hear our preview. But, you know, maybe there's some people who don't know about it or who aren't watching it live.
Yeah, or they're switching through the channels and they came across us on their podcast channels.
Yeah, and then they find out about this amazing Joshi show and they're like, oh, I should go watch that because they made it sound really good.
We're doing this Joshi program already in progress.
Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, obviously, my God, there was a lot of great stuff.
There was.
And, you know, we saved one. We saved one for last. And I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Do say.
I don't want to say it.
You have to say it because it's the truth.
My favorite show of the week. My favorite show of the week, Raja.
You'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling Grand Princess 25.
I know. It was so good.
It was my favorite show of the week, Raja.
They just really know how to put on a show.
I love Stardom. I love Sendai Girls.
Yes.
I love Oz Academy. I love so many.
Yeah.
This was a spectacular show.
It was.
It was really
so
good, wasn't it? It just made you feel good the whole time.
It did. They do such a good job of just vibes.
Yeah.
Just the atmosphere and the music and just making you feel like part of the family, honestly.
All the vibes. And
it was absolutely spectacular.
It's kind of like those vibes you had the other night at that concert.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you go see?
I went to see the Driver Era.
That's right.
And it was so much fun, and my legs are still sore from all the dancing.
Because you were a VIP.
I was, yes. I was about 3 standing rows back from the stage.
And you VIP'd all over the place. I wanted to, I didn't want to go to that. Obviously, there was too many of girls.
It was quite a girl-heavy concert,
It was very girl-heavy. So I wanted to hang out in Cincinnati. I looked for John Moxley for hours.
Did you find him?
I'm not going to say that.
I'm not going to reveal my secrets.
I don't tell secrets like that.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. I did come away with some battle scars. Girls are vicious, okay?
Yeah.
When they want to catch something that's being thrown out by their favorite artist.
I can tell you this. I have never seen so many chicks that look like the same chick. And there was just a lot of, I don't know, 18 to 35.
Yeah, I was definitely like on the older end of the spectrum of the concert goers.
I don't know.
I was surrounded by 18-year-olds. The girl next to me had a sign that said, "It's my 18th birthday," and I was like, "Wow, okay."
I don't know. I've seen a lot of chicks that were 25.
Yeah, there were 20s in there a lot too, but
but the show. What show were they on?
Oh well. The Driver Era is Ross Lynch's band and his brothers, Rocky and Riker. But Ross Lynch was on Austin and Ally on Disney Channel.
What era was that?
He played Austin Moon. It was when Aerie was younger, so early 2000s,
Early
2010s.
2010s.
Yes, so that was the era that he was a Disney Channel star.
Okay. So, I mean, that would make more sense for there to be people your age.
Right.
Really, because you graduated around that time.
Well, Ross is closer to my age than he is an 18-year-old. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's not that big of a problem.
Yeah. I mean, that was big for you this week.
It was. It was a lot of fun because I really, really love their music. So I was very excited to go see them.
I had a few little things happen too.
Oh, yeah?
No, I mean, nothing major.
Nothing major.
We're going to be doing something this weekend.
Oh, yes. I am so excited to be going down to good old Kingsport,
Tennessee, because that's where the king takes a ship into the Kingsport.
Yes.
Now, Kingsport, Tennessee, we're going to be going down there, and I'm going to be entering a version of a Hall of Fame there in East Tennessee for pro wrestling, and it's going to be presented by the good folks at Innovate Pro Wrestling.
The hometown.
And it will be actually taking place at the Bobby Eaton Memorial Arena. Mm-hmm. And, incredible little venue they have there. There's some news coming soon too about another venue I heard, but staying on point here. John Hawkins, who I have been known as in many times, will be inducted into the Hall of Heroes, the inaugural Hall of Heroes. So yeah, I'll give my own clap on that one. I'm very excited about this.
John Hawkins deserves it. He inspired many a young child to get into wrestling in his day.
Corrupted many a young mind in and amongst that area.
Yes.
So very excited about, it's just any time that you get asked, no matter how small the potato, no matter how big the potato,
right,
it's still a potato.
Yes, it's still an honor.
You get very excited about things when you're honored by.
And it's the very first class.
The very first class.
Very important.
Yeah. So I put a lot of years into this good old sport of pro wrestling. So I did my first training, my first ever training. I was in 9th grade.
Wow.
And all I ever wanted to be was a pro wrestler.
I know.
From the very youngest memories of wanting to be something, I wanted to be a pro wrestler. And teachers made fun of it. Friends kind of believed it, knowing me.
They were like, yeah, okay, that tracks.
The funny thing is, when I was in elementary school, I started a backyard fed before they were cool. Like before anybody had backyard feds.
Right.
I had JCW. So JCW was Junior Championship Wrestling.
That's adorable.
And I had logos and I had all this good stuff. I had JCW. I had all kinds of championships because I was very AEW about my booking.
You were like, I want everyone to have a belt.
I was the booker. I was the matchmaker. I was the champion.
Of course, of course.
You know what was funny though is I didn't give myself the main title. I gave myself the television title just because I like to have the working title.
Right.
And my finish was a super kick. I was
okay, Chris Adams.
I was totally inspired by Chris Adams. I was Gentleman John, and I had the Johnny kick. That Johnny kick stayed with me and through it all. But years later, my mom and dad, they kind of knew that as many fights as I was getting in at school, that I was going to have to do something.
Right.
So they actually. We kept sending letters back then. This was what it was. We kept sending letters, hearing about this person knew this person, this family member knew somebody way down in South Carolina. Mm-hmm. So I'll have all these letters from wrestlers like that worked for Crockett that would write me back, and mostly jobbers or what you would call jobbers, but they would take the time to write me back. And I remember getting like 6-page letters and just begging me not to get into business. And it was very nice, very
it's like you don't want to do
well
that.
written, but it was like, it's a hard life, kid. It's knocks and bruises. You can't have a family. It's all these things were true.
Right.
But finally there was a family member who worked for UPS, and he was a UPS driver, and he went all over the place, way up in the hills, and he actually met a pro wrestler named Jerry Vanover. And he worked at a place called the Fashion Bug, of all places. And it was in some little rinky-dink mountain town.
Right.
But he told him all about me and all about the fact of I would never shut up about it. I was like always just pro wrestling. Every fed you can imagine, every magazine you can imagine. And so he said, bring him up. So I went up there and he sized me up right off the bat. We had a big journey up there. And like I said, I was in 9th grade, 14. And I was already 6 foot tall.
Right.
At 14. So, and I'd started working out when I was in 5th grade in the gym with my dad, which was not a good idea, by the way, just so you know. But yeah, I was a big kid. So I went to my first event. And they actually let me, at the very first event I ever did, I got to meet one of my first trainers in his hood, in his mask. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "You want to get involved today, kid?" And I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, "All right, here's the deal. You're going to be you're going to ring the bell, the timekeeper. And no one's going to expect a kid, So when I give you the Iggy," and that was the first time I ever heard Iggy. Just kind of figured out what Iggy was by the way he was saying it.
Out in the context.
Yeah. He's like, "When I give you the Iggy, I need you to jump up and give me one of the belts, and we're going to use it. And then take it back down there, blah, blah, blah." So I did the do. It was like such a big deal. And then there was something magical happen. Every fan in that place wanted to kill me.
Isn't that the way?
Every fan in that entire gymnasium. It was a Sunday afternoon show, a matinee. It was like 3:00.
Uh-huh.
And there were probably 300 people in this middle school gym.
Right.
And they just wanted to destroy this child. This child. So that was the start of it. I went to many shows for this group and, took some bumps, did all this stuff. And I got in a lot of trouble. And I had to get away from it. And then I had to do life and all this stuff. So it was a few years later that, it was the year 2000, June 25th or June 24th of the year 2000. I had my debut match and I won it. I had a pinfall victory in my first match.
Nice. So
it was against another one of my trainers. We had built up to it. They introduced us a few weeks before, actually, and we turned on them, and right off the bat, and it was really cool. And a guy named Alan King was gracious enough to put me over, and with a small package, actually.
Oh,
so I did a slip
good old
over,
roll up.
but I got to win in my first night. Second night, I got my first shoot fight. I had a guy, this asshole who's dead now. I hope he's burning somewhere. This guy, we won't say his name, Jerry Steele, who I had to wear a hood. They did this thing because I had done we had done some stuff the night before. So they start this whole show in this place called Greenville, Tennessee. And it was so funny because they came out with cops. They knew some cops.
Right.
So they came out and they're like, "Look, you guys," me and my tag team partner, we were THC, the Hellcore. And our finishing move was 840 drop because we were twice as high. Yes, it's just as bad as it sounds. But they came out and they're like, "No, you guys got to, you got to go. You're arrested. We're taking out warrants on you, blah, blah, blah." All this stuff. So they put us in cuffs and take us out of the arena arrested. So we come back. They had some mystery opponents because, that's just wrestling.
Yes.
So they had mystery opponents later. They did open challenge or something. And we came out wearing our satanic mask with the upside down pentagram, all this stuff. And at the end of this, it went really well. And I was living a dream, right? I was just glorious. I was living this dream. I was standing there triumphant at the end. And all of a sudden, this huge, incredible, the really big stop signs that are like 3,000 pounds?
Yeah.
So I get hit without knowing it's coming from this guy and Jerry Steele. And I don't know why he did it. Nobody really knows why he did it. He was messed up on something.
Right.
So I wasn't very happy about that.
No, I would imagine not. And
threw him into the ropes on a shoot, and he did the cactus without wanting to do the cactus. The head choke into the ropes. Nearly killed him on the first night. But the reason I bring all that up is just because I can't believe that it's been that long. A guy that helped me right off the bat and did a lot of my training with me, Brian Wayne. He was Mr. Happy Brian Wayne. He was one of the best, biggest guys, like one of the best big men around that time. He had ECW tryouts. He did a lot of things. Right. And he wrestled in Wildside. Yeah. Some things like that. He could do amazing things to be as big as he was. But he helped me out a considerable amount. and he is also going in, which is really cool.
It's amazing.
I've stayed with a lot of the same guys. I wrestled in some different places until 2004 is when I hooked up with this group that is going to be bringing me in. And we had some long, wonderful things with John Hawkins Promotions, JHP. We actually sold out of the Armory so much, we grew out of the Armory into a place called the Civic Auditorium, which was just a big deal. We sold that place out.
Yeah.
West Virginia, Tennessee, Virginia, Kentucky, Georgia, just all over the place doing the thing. Steve Fury, Ricky, Chris Richards, so much fun.
Some of my best memories are JHP and
just all these years. Raja, actually in this same company, made her debut.
my one and only night in wrestling.
Yes, as you came out and you were actually on a card, as we talked about before, and that the night you decided to come out, so to speak. The night you decided to join pro wrestling, you came out when you had your gear, you had your gimmick. Hangman Adam Page was on that card as a unknown.
Yeah.
Caprice Coleman was on that card.
Cedric Alexander
was on that card. So you came out on a good night, right?
I did. Yes.
So, it was an incredible debut, really.
There's a few things I would go back and change, knowing what I know now, but it was a lot of fun. But I had a blast. It was great.
What's really crazy about this, and they don't know this as they induct me Saturday night, but it's my 25th, year in the business. I don't count those first.
Right, back to 14.
Yeah, I don't count that foray into it. That was sniffing, right?
Because you didn't have an actual match.
No, that was sniffing around. So from actual match, it's been 25 years.
It's amazing.
So it's crazy. It's insane.
It's going to be so fun just to be back down there.
It's exciting, and it means a lot. This whole sport means so much to me, and all the history, of the sport, everything about pro wrestling is literally everything in my life that I love. It's like it's more than just a passion or more than just a pastime,
right?
And that's why I love. To bring this all around, that's why Joshi is so important to me, and you.
Yes.
Obviously,
you're the reason I'm into wrestling. So
they bring the passion. They bring everything that I want out of pro wrestling that I've seen kind of evaporate at times.
Yeah.
When I watch the women and what they've went through and the struggle and the performances they put on and the real combat, the real, fighting spirit.
Yeah.
It inspired me again.
Right.
And it brought that.
It brings the love back.
Oh yeah.
And it never leaves you.
It lit that fuse for me again years ago. And I'd never seen anything. It's so funny with everything I followed. I knew who a lot of the ladies were, in All Japan, but I didn't watch it.
Right.
And when I did watch Japan, it was like New Japan stuff, of course, going all the way back to Dynamite and all that stuff. But I just didn't watch the women because we're kind of programmed here.
Yeah.
That, Misty Blue Sims versus Linda Dallas was going to be, out there.
Women.
Yeah. And then the Divas crap.
Yeah.
That happened. A lot of great ladies. Imagine how much incredible talent got wasted during that era.
I can't. It makes me angry to think about.
Because they didn't fit a mold.
Yeah.
Just imagine how much talent. Every generation has wonderful talent.
Yeah.
How much talent just got disheartened because they didn't fit a mold. Or just,
and they didn't want to do mud matches or whatever.
No, exactly. It just pisses me off. I mean, listen, I like to watch a mud match as much as the next person, but that's not pro wrestling.
No, in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, but that's what I love about Japan. Japan has never lost the script.
They never went backwards.
They have never lost their passion, ever since it first started with them in the late 60s. Coming in, you can go back to any era.
Yeah.
And you're going to see, such incredible people, incredible talents, incredible stories. And that's what I love about today is it seems like the explosion is back.
Yeah, we're really in a huge era of wrestling in general, but Joshi is just, it's crazy right now, as evidenced by the amazing shows that just keep happening over and over again. It's nonstop.
And I apologize to everybody listening. I apologize for putting all that in there. It's just
it's our show, isn't it?
I'm excited about I'm excited about being inducted by my peers.
Yes.
It means a lot to me.
Well deserved.
It means the world to me. And hopefully it just means a new era.
Yeah.
Instead of a closing of a door.
Absolutely. But this whole week has been crazy. Outside of wrestling for us and inside of wrestling, we got to watch so much stuff. The Cinderella finals, Grand Princess, like you said. But before we jump into any of that, I do want to just give a quick shout out to an indie match that we watched this week between Mercedes Moné and Indy Hartwell, which was a spectacular match. Okay.
It was so good.
Indy delivered. I was worried a little bit because, she didn't have like major matches.
Yeah,
in her recent career.
She just had the Australia stuff starting out.
Yeah.
And my God, this was so good. And one of the things I love about it was the array of offensive maneuvers that Indy hit.
Yeah,
that were
she had a great moveset.
Yeah, she really did, didn't she?
Yeah.
It was great. And I thought that Mercedes was just a really good opponent.
Yeah, Mercedes, just her ability to tell a story just within a match is always incredible.
Yeah, anybody who shits on Mercedes isn't.
And they're not doing it in good faith.
They're truly not. They don't love wrestling. They don't look at wrestling the same as I do. I guess.
Right. I mean, it like alone the fact that she took 8 hours of her time before the show to meet people and sign autographs, and then went and wrestled a match.
Yeah, yeah.
And put on an incredible match with a girl who just made it back into the indies, kind of like she did a couple years ago.
I really hope that Indy Hartwell lands.
Yeah.
I would like, selfishly, I'd like her to go on a long Joshi tour first.
Yeah, she'd be really good in Joshi, I think, because she's so tall.
Oh, God.
It would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'd be great, but I would like to see her. I think she would do great in AEW.
I think so too. I think she would fit right in, obviously.
and so I hope that happens.
Me too. But why don't we get into this amazing Joshi that we watched this past week, starting off with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling.
Yes.
Grand Princess 25. It was just so good. And Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling is something that we kind of go back and forth on. We don't watch it very regularly, but we always try to check out the big shows. And I think this one was just, it hit the spot so good that I think we're gonna we've suddenly become enormous to Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling fans.
And we went back and forth with it, countless times. I think that I want to give credit on this to Meerkat.
Yeah.
To Meerkat Ultra on YouTube.
We love his videos.
And he's a great follow on X as well. But we watched the Meerkat videos, and honestly, even though a lot of times he's putting a funny story around it,
yeah,
he does a wonderful job in introducing you to different characters.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes things like that are just immeasurable on what they can do for bringing someone in.
I agree.
Because it gets me like, oh, okay, this is really cool. I love this. And I know that in conjunction with some of the people that were on this card.
Yeah.
We have to watch anything Mako does.
Of course. We have to see Mako in her last. Yeah. I mean, she's a month away from retiring.
Shut up.
Which is sad.
Stop it.
And we can't miss any of those matches on her retirement tour.
Yes, I know.
Obviously. So Grand Princess, of course, started off with the ring announcer Namba, who is graduating soon from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, which is crazy that she's on her way to Vancouver to learn how to be like a Japanese teacher for foreigners.
Yeah.
So she's going to be teaching people Japanese who come on over to Japan.
I'd like to learn from Namba.
I think a lot of people would.
Yeah.
Of course, the Up Girls opened the show with 2 songs because it's a big show. They did Stand Up, and then, of course, they did Upper Kick, which is it always opens the show. Right. And then we had our Starto moment, which is it's just so much fun.
Yes.
Okay, you can't not be in a good mood after you hear the Up Girls sing, and then you do the start with everyone.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. This card started off with a tag team match where Mifu Ishida and Yoshiko Hasegawa defeated Shino Suzuki and Himawari.
Yes.
And then we had a huge 8-person match where Ivy Steele, Haruna Neko, Mahiro Kiryu and Kakuro Sakaguchi
Yes.
defeated Uta Takami, Kira Summer, Chika Nanase, and Kaya Toribami. And all these ladies were just excellent.
And I think it's cool that Kira Summer, they mentioned that the fact that she is a gaijin that is signed.
Yeah.
So
the first, she's like the foreigner that got the Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling contract, which she's been putting in the work.
she really has.
So amazing for her. But all 8 of these ladies were amazing in the ring. They got some silliness going on, but they also have some amazing work at the same time. So it was really fun. Max the Impaler took out Mika Miyamoto.
Oh my God. Mika gave a big fight.
She did.
And,
she did her best.
And Max actually sold stuff really well.
Yes,
so.
but they did win and take Mika's bow as a trophy.
Yes.
For the win.
Which I love that gimmick. Listen, Max taking something off the ladies and taking it, but I
cool.
love the idea of that. They did so good in the match anyway.
Yeah, they're
very impressive.
Scary.
Yeah,
scary. They just are a presence. Then Wakana Uehara, Yuki Kamifuku, and Aja Kong defeated Toga, Haru Kazushiro, and Yuki Aino. Sorry, my eyes did a weird thing there, but this was a great match. Listen, I love Toga. Every time I see Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling and I see Toga wrestle,
that noise
I'm like,
and that giggle.
I love Toga.
The noise and the giggle was because on my notes, I have Toga circled.
And Aja Kong, she really got in there and she gave Toga a little work there. It was really fun.
You could tell that Aja wanted to pair off with Toga. Toga has it as far as that. There's a specific style that Raja and I kind of like. The Mika Owada, the Takumi.
Yes.
There's a certain kind of...
She kind of falls into our one category of people we love.
Yeah.
We have 2 specific categories that people usually fall into.
We have a very that bitch crazy category with Poi.
Yeah.
And, Chi-Chi.
Yeah.
And then we have...
the badass category.
Yeah, we have the she'll be here to pick you up in 10 minutes category of Utami and,
the Raja's List of Dream Women category.
Yeah, that list. But Toga is one to watch. Listen, man.
Absolutely.
She's really good already.
She is. Every time I see her, I'm impressed.
Yeah, me too.
But they kept mentioning her elbows, and we didn't get to see any of those in this match, and I was disappointed by that. I was like, dang, I want to see the elbows.
She has the aggression, though, is what I'm speaking of. It. You either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
And she has that aggression.
She does. She's going to be a big star. I can feel it. Feel it coming. For the setup All Asia Women's Championship, Raku defeated Palm Harajuku to become the new champion. This was a very silly match.
It was, and I kind of called this one right off the bat just because they mentioned it too much.
They did mention it a lot, but watching Palm Harajuku drain 2 consecutive Thai Red Bulls and then put on a pair of wings was maybe one of the best moments of the night.
Yes, that was a good moment.
The next 2 matches, I just need to I can't even explain the aura around these matches.
This was the aura moment, and I want to give a slow clap for these. Okay, this, if I may, Willow Nightingale, one of your favorites.
Yes.
Mio Watanabe, one of everyone's favorites.
One of everyone's favorites.
We know the girl is strong, but
we are aware.
I've never seen anyone manhandle Willow Nightingale the way that Mio Watanabe manhandled. And we've seen her live.
Yes.
And we've made that weird connection. And we've talked about so many times. There's only certain people.
Yeah.
Tam being one of them.
Yeah.
That when
they look at you and you're like, oh, I understand.
Yeah. When it's live, and listen, it's not just the ladies. The first time I ever seen Naito was in a hallway. And time stopped.
Yeah. It was like everything froze as he walked by.
I was not a Naito fan. Not at all.
No, and there were plenty other New Japan people there, but Naito just had this something around him where you just had to it's like reverence.
Yeah.
You can't escape it.
It's insane. It really is, isn't it?
It is. And this was 2018 Naito.
Yeah,
it was top tier Naito.
You know who else had that for me? I was backstage on the tour because I got to go on that tour of Chase with New Japan. Mm-hmm. And out of everyone on the New Japan roster, Jay White, he commanded this presence in the back as well. And I'll never forget being in the back of the ECW arena.
Yeah.
With the guys, and I took a picture of Gato and was around all the guys.
Yeah.
He even walked the streets in New York City with Kota Ibushi, where he was like, "Hey, Fabe," and like going into corners.
Right.
And he sold the leg all the way back to the hotel, by the way.
That's commitment.
Through the streets of New York. But Jay White had this aura.
Yeah.
Even then, that was just like, there was something special glowing off of him.
Yeah. And Miyu Watanabe. She has that.
Has that aura through a television. She had it when we were live.
Yes. We were blessed enough to see Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling twice last year during WrestleMania weekend live. And seeing the girls live just puts it all into perspective.
But there's this special ones, obviously, and it's some of them the ones you imagine. But Miyu Watanabe had something that's just infectious about her smile, infectious about her work.
Yeah.
And this match was unbelievably good.
It was insane. These two have a chemistry with each other that's undeniable. They just worked perfectly together. That pounce that Miyu Watanabe took,
the best pounce I've seen from anyone against Willow.
But as you said, just her power and ability to move Willow around, which is, I mean, we've seen Willow versus Chris Statlander how many times, and not even Chris can like move Willow with that ability.
No.
And Miyu Watanabe's like half her size.
Yeah, it's that ability where there's no struggle.
Yeah, even Willow after the match put it over as she's leaving. She said, she's so tiny, but so strong. It was so good.
It should be a t-shirt.
Willow did win the match, but I think that, I don't think anyone lost here, essentially. It was such a good match. We all won by getting to witness it.
No, and even Miyu Watanabe was smiling and gracious after this, and they talked about on X, having a rematch.
Are they better?
So
they should do it in America.
I think that it might be a Mania weekend thing.
Of course it is. Of course it will be.
Yeah.
Of course everything's going to happen on Mania week.
Yeah.
I'm not salty. Following that, though, we had another special singles match where Yuki Arai took on Meiko Satomura, who is so intense that she scares me when I'm not even there in the ring with her.
Yeah. Somebody needs to do a wellness check on Yuki at this point.
Oh, God. She really took a whole beating in this match.
She did, and Meiko Satomura is her.
She is. She's just the epitome of Joshi, which is apropos considering the show she's about to put on in a couple hours.
Right.
But this match, I mean, Yuki Arai gave it back. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the way Meiko Satomura commands a ring and can just put people in any position she wants. She goes from this to this to this, and there's no stopping it. It's beautiful to watch. It's a work of art.
She doesn't look like somebody that's going to retire in a month.
No, she doesn't. It makes me so sad that we're only like maybe a month and a half at this point out from her retirement.
But her fingerprints will be over the sport for many years to come.
I know she's still going to be involved with everything with Sendai Girls, and she wants to make Joshi as big as it once was. That's her goal.
Yeah.
She just isn't going to be in the ring anymore, which sucks for us.
It does, but it is pro wrestling.
It is.
They say those 3 words, never say never.
Yes, exactly. After that, they had the International Princess Championship where Suzume defeated her longtime tag team partner, Arisu Endo, to retain the belt. And then in the semifinal Princess Tag Team Championship match, Hyper Misao and Shoko Nakajima defeated Miyu Yamashita and Maki Ito to become the new Princess Tag Team Champions, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, just because we were just... Listen, there is something special about the tag team of Maki Ito and
Miyu Yamashita.
Yeah, there's something special about it.
It's just the thing where it's kind of like the Mei Seira Suzu Suzuki thing. It's like these two things shouldn't belong together,
right?
But they work so well together.
Yeah, it was so good. I mean, and there was a seriousness that Yamashita brought out in Maki, and I enjoyed that seriousness.
Yeah, and on top of that, their whole deal about if we don't defend the tag belts 10 times, then we'll stop being a tag team, just added another bit of weight to this whole match. But Hyper Misao and Shoko Nakajima, never having held the belts together before, have finally achieved their dream of being the Princess Tag Team Champions together.
Awesome stuff.
Which is an amazing story in and of itself. And even Hyper Misao, like, pulling out a little bit of the dark side to get it done.
Yeah, it was a good match.
It was very cool, and I really enjoyed it. And it was a great semifinal leading up to the Princess of Princess Championship match between Rika Tatsumi and Mizuki, who finally a face-to-face singles match in the ring for a championship as Rika wanted it to be, but Rika Tatsumi could not overcome her love, Mizuki, to win this match. Mizuki is still the Princess of Princess champion.
Yeah, and overall, TJPW Grand Princess 2-5 was a great event.
It was so good. I enjoyed myself thoroughly through this 4 hours.
Yeah, if you have Wrestle Universe, you need to go out of your way, go watch the card.
You do. You should go back and watch it. I agree completely. But before we get into Stardom, I do just want to quickly talk about the Top of Joshi, in case people don't know about it yet.
Right.
Or haven't seen it yet.
We're mere hours away.
We're only hours away. March 19th, it's at 6:30 Japan time, so 5:30 a.m. in the Eastern time zone.
Literally, we're a couple hours from that right now.
But this card is insane, so I just need you to hear it in case you don't know, because I need you to know, okay? Maria versus Manami in a singles match. Maria being from Marvelous. She's an excellent wrestler.
Yes, she is.
Yuna, Yura Suzuki, Zonas, and Hanoka teaming up to take on Nina Samuels, Lena Cross, Yu, and Vinny. So really fun stuff with the international talent. Shin Hirota Sakura versus Jaguar Yokota.
Dear God.
Which I can't tell if it's going to be hilarious or scary.
Let me tell you, if you want to know what my WrestleMania main event could be, it would be this.
Yes, this is just it. This is everything.
This is it.
Chikayo Nagashima, Yurika Oka, and Ryo Mizunami taking on perhaps the best trio team that I've seen in a long while.
Yes.
Aja Kong, Takako Inoue, and Kyoko Inoue.
Dude.
I can't even explain how much joy that brings me, just to say.
I mean, honest to God, if you know, you know.
Yes. It's like the 90s have come back.
If you know, you know. Takaki Inoue.
Yes, Takako Inoue.
Is fucking...
She's incredible and scary. She's mean.
The reason I bring her out of the three is because that's the one that may have slipped by with somebody.
Right.
You know, that if you're going back and you're studying, okay, I need to study this person. I need to watch this person. There's a good chance you might not pick her up right off the bat.
Right. Takako Inoue, she was like one of the prettier ones. They kind of stuck her in the like pretty girl matches.
So she is a ass kicker.
She's a beast.
And if you watch house shows, we're sick enough where we're going back and watching, you know, the old commercial tapes and
just pick a random
just old house shows and stuff. And we just watching her kick some girl's ass.
Oh my God. In like less than 2 minutes. Yeah. And she's obviously in a horrible mood and she just decimates this poor girl.
I could start my day watching that every day and be happy all day.
Yes. And of course we absolutely adore Kyoko Inoue as well. Yeah. And her moveset and just the innovation she always brings to the ring. And then Aja Kong being Aja Kong.
Aja Kong is one of the great... Listen, we got a special coming up for the Patreon. And I know it's kind of a joke at this point because we've said it for weeks. But this is for real. You know, we've got these things ready. They're in the can.
Yes.
Just trying to find the right pull time to do stuff. And you know, Mania week is one of those great times to release things or to lead up to it. Because everybody, you know, gets their wrestle hat on.
Of course.
It's kind of like opening up a Halloween store in September, you know, like...
Everyone's ready for it.
Lead up to it, and that's kind of like what we're looking at. But Aja Kong, just the best night of pro wrestling ever. You know, we're gonna chronicle that.
Of course. Yes, but we have to talk about it.
She is so fucking amazing.
Oh, man. And we're not even done yet. There's a hardcore match between Risa Sera and Dash Chisako, which will just be blood everywhere, probably. The junior championship is on the line. Aya Sakura once more taking on Chi-Chi for her championship in their third installment of their feud now, I think.
It's talking about blood. This is bad blood.
Oh my God. For the tag team championships, Hanako and Maika coming over to challenge Miyuki Takase and Miki Iwata for the Sendai Girls World Tag Team Championships. And for the Sendai Girls World Championship, Meiko Satomura will be defending against Chihiro Hashimoto. Her
Yes.
best student in the game.
Just what an event.
It's gonna be incredible, and when it's called the top of Joshi Wrestling for a reason. Sendai Girls never disappoint, and they're bringing in all the big guns for this show. So it's on Wrestle Universe, like it's not even a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You don't even have to pay extra for it, which is insane.
Yeah.
Because you should have to.
You should have to.
But all you got to do, you can even get a week free trial of Wrestling Universe and watch it. It's not even that big a deal.
Yeah, they need a tip jar.
People need to come. Oh, that would be cool. Like install a tip system on Wrestle Universe for all the promotions. I would tip Sendai Girls all the time.
Especially specific matches. I think
so it goes to the girls.
Just like in Mexico, throwing the dollars to the ring.
Yeah.
How cool would it be at the end of a match if you could just
it's like, this is for them.
Just tip a match.
They did amazing.
Tip a match.
That would be cool. I agree. But that brings us to Stardom.
Yes.
What we're all here to talk about. The Cinderella finals have happened on March 15th, and it was an incredibly story-heavy show.
It was.
There was so much that happened, so let's jump in. In the Zero match, Fukigen Death defeated Rion via roll-up, which is kind of hilarious because we've had this whole Rion and Kaori Yoneyama thing going on in New Blood. Mm-hmm. So now she's taken roll-ups from Fukigen Death on the side, which is kind of funny.
I like to picture Rion in the locker room going, you wouldn't believe what happened. I faced that Fukigen Death, and it was, oh my God, Kaori, you just wouldn't believe.
It was like night and day. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Then, before the show started, we got the introduction of another new girl from this current class.
With the hardest name ever to say.
Her name is Ane Kanaya. Okay. It's spelled like the English Anne, which is confusing.
So it's not hard for us.
But it's Ane.
It seems bloody difficult for the Japanese.
Yes, Ane Kanaya.
Because every time they tried saying it, they were like, Kanaya.
It did sound weird, but I think everyone will get used to it. Mm-hmm. We can just call her Ane for ease. But she will debut on the 20th so in Okinawa, so coming up this weekend. Then we got into the main show proper with a 6-man. Yuri Hime, Akira Kuragane, and Tabata, all the younger girls, took on Hanako, Waka Tsukiyama, and Maika, and EXV was victorious in this 6-woman match. Hanako put the brainbuster on Akira and won the match for EXV.
And still yet, I'm still, into Tabata. I think Tabata's had a great tour.
Tabata's amazing. Akira did amazing against Hanako. I think those two match up really well. But, of course, the young girls had to take the loss on this one. It's just business. They then did their little announcement cycle, and we learned that Stardom Golden Fight Week 2025 will be happening like immediately after Grand Queendom, first week of May. And then they announced that Stardom The Conversion is coming back on June 21st. And of course, we know last year,
amazing show.
So many things changed at Stardom The Conversion.
Yeah.
So just buckle up for that one.
That was really the start.
It was like Neo Genesis and all that started happening.
It was pretty much the rebirth.
It was, and it was that whole Miki Iwata's Sariano thing, and it's just crazy. I have a feeling this year's going to be crazy too. So
Me too.
After that, we had the Cinderella semifinals. Sayaka Kurara versus Azusa Inaba, and Azusa was very methodical about taking out Sayaka Kurara's knee. In this match, it was taped up, and she just went freaking after it, dude.
Yeah, Azusa during this match, really, it's one of those matches when you feel like one person's going to win, but the other person does everything in the world to change your mind, and that happened.
Yes, Azusa was on top of her like the whole match.
We were already figuring out how Azusa was going to win it, you know.
I was like, are we getting Azusa versus Rina?
Yeah.
Is that what's happening?
It's very strange.
She even did a Kamagoye that, like, I thought it was over at that point, but Sayaka Kurara did battle back and managed to get her Tokimeki Falcon Arrow on Azusa to win the semifinal match and move on to the finals, despite her knee.
Yes.
And then Rina took on her big sister, Hanan, and she actually attacked Hanan before the bell even rang and got the upper hand on her before the match, but Hanan being Hanan, she gave it back to her sister, and this was just a great showcase of why Rina deserves to be at the point she's at.
It was a great match. It was a great match. Hanan did wonderful in this match. And
yes, Hanan's wonderful selling.
My favorite part of the whole match is at the end when Rina had won. Hanan looking out the side of her eye, laying on the mat,
it
watching.
Was so cute. She was just kind of like, it was kind of like a proud moment.
Yeah.
It's like, that's my sister.
Yeah.
She's amazing. So Rina did win this match with her, a double Pink Devil, you know, her gory special she does. She did it twice in order to pin Hanan, and she went on to the finals. So it would be Sayaka Kurara versus Rina later in the night. But before that, we had some more crazy stuff happen. In this next match, it was an 8-man where Miyu Amasaki, Suzu Suzuki, Mei Seira, and Azumi took on Ruaka, Momo Watanabe, Natsuko Tora, and Sayaka Matani. And the story within this match is all Suzu Suzuki.
Yes, it was.
Because we know Suzu's been questioning things. She's been having thoughts about things she needs to do. And in this match, Crazy Star just fell apart. From the start. Like, they've bumped into each other. Mei Seira kicked Suzu Suzuki in the face 4 times over the course of this match. And then the finish was so good because Tora was pinning Suzu and Mei was coming in to break it up. And as she's going for the drop kick, Tora picks Suzu up and pushes her into the drop kick right in the face.
It was great.
To win the match for Hate. And Suzu was upset. After this match, Mei was trying to apologize. She even touched her shoulder, and Suzu shrugged her off, and she was not happy about how things went.
One's going.
I think it's pretty obvious, but this was. I mean, I don't know if you needed the whole Crazy Star mad at each other thing to progress the story, but it's a good little.
I like it.
A good little extra piece. To push Suzu into whatever it is that she's going to be doing.
I like
next.
it because Mei Seira, I feel, was the only thing keeping her there. It was very much the outsiders, to name one of the greatest movies of all time, but they talked about the only thing keeping Derry from being a Soch was, his little brothers, Soda Pop, and
he had to be there for them.
Yeah, and the thing was, just that I feel like the only thing that's been keeping Suzu
in Neo Genesis,
from not being a Grease is May.
Yeah, and if that falls apart.
I think if May falls apart,
nothing's stopping her from leaving.
I don't think she has any real connection with. She's nice and everything with the other girls, but May was her friend.
Yeah.
And I think that if that feels like it's not there anymore, that's perfect story.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. The next match was an moment for all of us because it was God's Eye versus Stars, and we had Rana Yagami, Lady C, Tomoka Inaba, Saki Kashima, and Shiri versus Momo Kogo, Saya Ida, Koguma, Hazuki, and Mayu Iwatani. And all you need to know about this match is that Shiri pinned Mayu Iwatani clean in the middle of the ring and challenged for the IWGP Women's Championship.
Woo!
It's happening, folks. We're here. We made it.
Yes.
It's finally happening. Shiri's getting the singles title match.
And it's not on the 4th of January, so they don't have to do a quick damn 20-minute match.
Oh, it's been over a year.
Yeah.
We've been begging for a rematch, and it's happening.
Yes.
At Grand Queendom.
And hopefully this rights the ship with Shiri. And
it's can you imagine Shiri holding a singles title again? Especially after all the stuff that she just continues to show how good she is.
I can imagine it.
And I'm just ready for her to be at that spot again.
I do too. And I love Mayu Iwatani, but I would like Mayu Iwatani to come and win the white belt.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. She's held that IWGP belt for such a long time. And I love her as champion, don't get me wrong, because those matches are fire every single time. But something about Shiri holding the belt again just gets me fired up.
What I want to have happen is I want her to lose to Shiri. And then I want her to go into the 5-star, her being Mayu Iwatani.
Yeah. And
I want her to beat Starlight in the 5-star again.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, this time they'll build it up. And it's like, blah, 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 blah. I want her to win against her in the 5-star, get a title shot, and, and take the belt and have Starlight have to fight back again,
Right.
But this time overcome, surpass. But I don't think it's time to surpass yet. I think it would be cool to have it go all the way.
It would be cool.
And have the fight back. And
it won't be long after Grand Queendom that we get into 5-star season. The year goes fast, folks.
So we'll see what happens. We got to do step 1 first.
Yes, we got to start with Sherry winning the belt. That's step number 1. It's going to happen. After that, we had... Let me find my spot. Aya Sakura and Yuna Mizumori versus Saori Ano and Tam Nakano. Little inter-Cosmic Angels match here, which was actually an incredible match.
Yeah.
Tam and Aya had spectacular work against each other. Of course, Tam and Saori were the ones who won the match. Tam used the Twilight Dream to get the pin. And then following the match, Unagi Sayaka showed up and invited Saori Ano to her produce show, which was interesting. There's something to do with a sandal. The match is something to do with sandals. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I want to know. But even beyond that, Saori Ano got a chance to speak and actually asked Tam for a singles match at the beginning of April in Korakuen Hall in case this is it for Tam. Saori Ano wants her chance to face her one-on-one.
Yes.
Which is really special.
It is.
I love that kind of thing. Following that, we had the singles match between Mina Shirakawa and Tekla.
Yes.
This was a match that happened, and with a stipulation that was there. So it started with Hate and EXV leaving ringside, and of course that just led to Hate coming back out when EXV wasn't there to counter them. There was a ref bump and Momo used the bat, and then we had the Poison Spider Death Drop from Tekla on Mina to win the match, which means Tekla gets to pick anyone in Stardom to face in a match. And who should she pick? Who did she pick, John?
She picked Okada.
Crazy. It's almost like someone predicted that.
She picked Haru Okada, which on this show last week, somebody said
she's gonna pick Okada.
She's gonna pick Okada. So
it's just so silly.
It is silly, and
he of course was like, "No, that's not happening,"
Yeah.
and she called him a wimp essentially, and that he was scared of her.
I think she called him a pussy.
She did. I didn't want to say it.
No, we have no fear on this episode. There's no fear on this show.
No, but it's just a me thing.
If they say it, we have to say it.
Yes,
So
but
you don't have to say it. It sounds terrible.
That she could, she thinks that she can coerce him into a match. I think if this is gonna happen, probably at Grand Queendom, I imagine it'll be like either a pre-show match or just a really silly thing.
I hope that Toru Okada is able to, to pick his champion.
Mm-hmm. Like trial by combat.
Yeah, trial by combat, and I pick this person to be my champion.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I don't want to see Toru Okada wrestle. I love him as he is.
Yeah, I don't want to see Toru Okada wrestle. I don't want to see Tony Khan wrestle. I don't want to see, I didn't want to see Vince McMahon wrestle, honestly.
Just you're staying in your lane. You're good where you are. You're doing great things where you are.
Right.
I promise. After that, in the semi-main event, the Cinderella final, Sayaka Kurara versus Rina. My gosh.
And what a journey. Like, if you take our show and you just started episode 1 and you go all the way through it, you'll get the story of Sayaka Kurara.
Yes.
You're going to get the love affair that we've had.
We were here when she debuted.
With Sayaka.
When it started with us going, I'm not sure about this Sayaka Kurara girl. She seems a little nervous in the ring and like she doesn't really know what she's doing.
But that didn't last long.
No.
We went with it, and we went on that journey with her.
It's been quite the journey for her.
It's been wonderful. It's been emotional, and we loved every bit of it, honestly. And just to get here where we're at now is spectacular.
I know. It's so fulfilling and satisfying to get to this point and to have two very young wrestlers like Sayaka Kurara and Rina in the Cinderella final, because that's what the Cinderella's about now.
Yeah.
It's about the younger wrestlers, and they put on a heck of a match. There was so many near falls. There were 1 counts. Like their finishers continuously got kicked out of.
It was a Stardom main event level match.
It was. If there's one thing I will say I was a little disappointed about, it's that Rina didn't take advantage of all the work that Azusa did earlier in the night. Like for her, she killed Sayaka Kurara's knee in their match, and Rina didn't touch it the whole time. She was more focused on the arm because that's where a lot of her offense stems from. But I wish she would have incorporated that a little bit in the match. But other than that, it was a fantastic match.
Right.
And Sayaka Kurara finally gets a win off the Tokimeki Spear. finally, she hit it with all of her heart and pinned Rina to become the 2025 Cinderella. Oh my goodness. Well deserved.
Yes.
She's had such a year, and I'm so proud of her. And so were everyone else.
And she's not given her wish yet.
No.
She says that she knows what it is. She's going to wait.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's going to be something with Tam and...
Yeah, it's got to have something to do with the Grand Queendom main event.
Yeah.
It's impossible not to. But she did come back out later in the night to talk about that, and she looked glorious.
Oh my God.
So beautiful in her dress.
Yeah,
like she
dude.
just belongs there.
It was so good.
She's a princess.
She is a she is a
and
princess.
Seeing Tam tear up and like Sariano's smiling and Natsupoi on commentary. It was just a moment.
I love Cosmic Angels.
Cosmic Angels is so wonderful. I want to be part of it.
Yes.
I just want that friend group in my life.
So great.
It's amazing. But following that, we did have the main event. The main event, which is hard to talk about because it was for the Wonder of Stardom Championship, Starlight Kid versus Konami. And this was frustrating mainly because hate's gonna hate and make us hate them, essentially.
Dude, the Konami...
She's just a lot, okay? Like, she has her gimmick. She is Konami.
So I love seeing stiff action.
Yeah.
I love seeing fighting spirit spots. Mm-hmm. I love the thump.
Yeah.
You know, I love all that stuff. But Jesus Christ.
Yes. So this foundation of this match was built upon the fact that Konami has done this kick to Starlight Kid's face far in the past. Mm-hmm. And she did it again on a show just before this one. But in the middle of this match, she managed to get that same kick that's just a straight up kick to Starlight Kid's face. And that wouldn't be such a bad thing if a minute later she puts her in the armbar and blood isn't gushing out of her nose and mouth.
Yeah, it looked nasty as hell.
Just gross.
And, you know, so she worked the shoulder and stuff. And obviously Starlight comes out of this with an injury. She's had to pull out of a match.
A very important
huge
match that she really wanted.
Against Saya Kamatani.
Yes, Starlight Kid is still the Wonder of Stardom champion at this moment.
Yeah.
She managed to get 2 consecutive star suplexes to finish this match with the win, even though she took a ton of damage.
Yeah, and that win came out of nowhere too. So
it did. It was very quick and sudden.
I feel like they had to take it home.
But she did get injured. Before this match, she was already hurting, but she obviously got injured in this match because she was bloodied up.
Yeah.
And it was terrible to see. But I'm glad she's still the champion. I'm glad she was able to overcome the demon that is Konami in her life.
Yes.
And move on to something new. But we are going to miss out on her this weekend at Stardom Spring Vacation, which is sad.
Well, as long as she gets healthy.
Yes, absolutely. We wish her a very speedy recovery because we will miss her while she's gone. But that being said, Stardom Spring Vacation in Okinawa is this weekend. 2 consecutive shows, actually a day apart from each other. There's like a day in the middle with no show, but they are both pay-per-views, which is crazy.
Yes.
But we're excited about it.
We are.
So on the 20th, it starts out with a 0 match. That's a Ryukyu Dragon Pro Wrestling special tag match with a couple of their masked guys, you know, in a tag team match. So that's a cool little look into another promotion there. Then we have Ane Kanaya versus Yuna Mizumori in her debut.
Yes.
Hina, Lady C, Tomoka Inaba, and Saki Kashima versus Azusa Inaba, Rina, Konami, and Momo Watanabe. So a little God's Eye versus Hate. Rion and Maika versus Izumi and Miyu Amasaki. A little O2 line action there.
Awesome.
In that match. Hanako versus Aya Sakura versus Rani Yagami in a 3-way, all of the same class, which will be really fun to see. Yuria Hime, Akira Kuragane, Saya Ida, and Hanan versus Momo Kogo, Koguma, Hazuki, and Mayu Iwatani in a little prelude to the Goddess of Stardom title match that's coming up on the second show. Sariano and Tam Nakano versus Waka Tsukiyama and Mina Shirakawa. Suzu Suzuki and Mei Seira, Crazy Star, teaming up against Ruwaka and Natsuka Tora, where I imagine things will get a little funky.
Little funky.
And Sayaka Kurara taking the place of Starlight Kid to take on Saya Kamatani in a singles match.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. No, none at all. But it's cool that she's getting another singles match against Saya, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Then, on the 22nd of March, we start off with Hanako, Mina Shirakawa, Maika versus Ane Kanaya, Yurihime, and Akira Kuragane, so EXV versus all the little young girls, so that'll be fun. Saki Kashima versus Waka Tsukiyama versus Miyu Amasaki in a very silly three-way, I imagine.
Yes.
Rion taking on Tomoka Inaba one-on-one, which is interesting.
That's cool.
Hazuki and Koguma versus Azusa Inaba and Rina.
That match.
FWC versus Princess Devil.
Yeah, that match for me is...
Devil Princess.
That match is going to be something.
It's going to be one to watch, for sure. It could be match of the night if they're not careful.
Yeah, easily.
Mei Seira, Suzu Suzuki, and Azumi versus Ronnie Yagami, Hina, and Lady C.
We'll see.
We'll see. An elimination match.
Can't wait for this one.
Sayaka Kurara, Aya Sakura, Yuna Mizumori, Sariano, and Tam Nakano of Cosmic Angels versus Ruaka, Konami, Momo Watanabe, Natsuko Tora, and Saya Kamatani of Hate.
It's going to be awesome.
Anytime Stardom has
elimination.
An elimination match, it's going to be off the wall.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
You can't miss it.
It's going to be good.
And in the main event for the Goddess of Stardom titles, Momo Kogo and Mayu Iwatani, Peach Rock, taking on Saya Ida and Hanan Wingori for their tag team championships.
Yeah. So there's some matches in there that I'm sure will be really good.
Yes.
Mixed in with some really interesting, good, great matches.
And I'm sure there'll be tons of story for us to come back and talk about because we're really excited. We're going to come back and talk about the top of Joshi Wrestling because it's going to be a crazy show as well. And anything else that we see over the next couple of days, next weekend, a week, whatever.
Yeah, this has all been crushed in pretty quick, so we'll have another one coming up in the weekend.
Yes, we will. Absolutely. So make sure you watch out for that. Follow us on all our socials at Cult of Joshi on X, on Instagram, on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Comment and let us know if you watched Grand Princess, if you watched the Cinderella finals. We want to know your thoughts on everything that happened because it was two very good shows.
And we'll also have a recap on John Hawkins' induction into Innovate Pro Wrestling.
Yes, we will. It's going to be amazing. So make sure you tune in for that next time. But for now, he's John. I'm Raja. So long from Cult of Joshi. Bye!